Battlefield won't launch a new game until 2021, which means we're stuck with Battlefield 5 for another 2 years. Are you serious? Okay, okay, guys, I'm being dramatic for effect here, but it does make me sad, and if you really don't know why this makes me sad, then allow me to explain. Just in case you're wondering where I'm getting this information from, this news was confirmed in a recent fiscal earnings call, I think it was yesterday, that EA regularly conduct for the benefit of their shareholders. Growth in fiscal 2022 will be led by a new and very exciting Battlefield title. Okay, cool. Well, I decided to take a quick look at the transcript of this call just to see what else information there was in this call, and I can see the key takeaways for Battlefield fans are as follows, right? The new generation consoles, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet, are due for release in late 2020. Actually, that's not in the earnings call. I just looked that up. So that's just some context there. That's when the new consoles are going to release. Late 2020, Christmas 2020. That's the plan. EA don't want to release immediately with the consoles, you see, but rather they want to, and I quote, a deep installed base. And they're talking about players, right? Before releasing the new Battlefield. And so they're planning on waiting around 1 year after the new consoles are released before releasing Battlefield. EA CEO Andrew Wilson says bringing our Battlefield next year, where the new console base is fairly small, doesn't really give justice to the potential of the title, and so that's part of our driver in moving the title into fiscal 2020. And it kind of makes sense. I mean, if you release the title before the console's released, then you're not leveraging the new consoles right before they're actually released. You know, you could have really benefited from next generation technology, which is something Battlefield has always capitalized on. And that's actually something he goes on to talk about, is how Battlefield is always visually stunning, etc., blah, blah. And yeah, so his rationale here does kind of make sense. We're looking at how to extend live services across every single one of our titles, including Battlefield, and we'll continue to see improvements across that. We're excited about where that can go. It is how people want to play games. It is where we think we have a skill set that is different than many of the other game companies, and we think we can continue to be very successful there. So I think he's talking about The Sims and FIFA. I'm not really that familiar with it, but by the sounds of the way the transcript for this call was, it sounds like they have done really well with live service in those two games. But obviously, Battlefield has been failing with live service. I know for the most avid fans of you guys out there of Battlefield, we're getting the Pacific. I get it, right? We're super hopeful. But in the grand scheme of things, it is undoubtedly a failure in their ability to deliver a live service for Battlefield. Or one could argue that the problem was a bad launch and the live service was never given a fair test. In fact, that would be my primary argument for why Battlefield has been failing, is because that launch was damn right horrific. I mean, I remember there were so many bugs on launch, and even the performance was slightly flawed at launch. But don't even get me started. I'll continue about performance in a sec. But yeah, it was a bad launch. And I wasn't around for Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3. I've heard that they had horrific launches as well. I just can't. I don't know. I'm just watching this Battlefield 5 launch and thinking, just in a vacuum, damn, that is a bad launch. But anyway, I digress. Continuing, Andrew Wilson also says, our Battlefield franchise and its community are also a major focus for us, and we'll add new content and new ways to play Battlefield 5 in fiscal year 21. So that's 1 year before the new game will release and 1 year from now. And yeah, I mean, it sounds promising on the surface, right? I get it. Battlefield 5 will get new content while we wait for Battlefield 6. But my problem with this is Battlefield 5 is still what I consider to be unfinished or broken. The crazy thing is it has moved further away from being a stable game since its launch. How does it even work? That is the opposite of what's supposed to happen, man. Just as a quick example, my spotting camera on my plane, which is pretty much the best upgrade in the entire German plane lineup, it still doesn't work. It used to work back when the game was launched, but it hasn't worked for the past, 4 months. Okay, so that's one feature that just doesn't work. And do you know what? This is a funny thing, right? They just released a huge patch, and I saw the patch notes, and I thought, wow, they have finally fixed the spotting camera, because there was a line item in the patch notes that said, we have fixed spotting for planes, something along those lines. And then I was excited. I got on the game yesterday, tried to play with a plane using the spotting camera, and it just didn't work. I was getting like 2 spots, and if I was lucky, I could see them on the UI. Why can't they get this to work? This is one function, guys, okay? There are so many functions in this game that don't work. But my biggest gripe, it is not just playing gameplay, guys. My biggest problem, you might be wondering, why aren't you excited for the Pacific, Nick? Well, because my biggest problem is all I'm thinking about is how my game will not run in a performant way when running this damn Pacific theater. So, for example, what I'm talking about here, guys, is my CPU will be at a 100%, but my GPU will be at like 50%. Something about the optimization that's going on that other games seem to handle just as expected. It's like a standard, right? They just will optimize the game. But in this game, why the hell is my CPU 100% and my RTX GPU is not even fully at capacity? That's not the way it's supposed to go. And on top of that, it is jumping around like crazy. I'm going from 100 frames a second to below 60 frames a second. That is not something I can deal with. It hurts to deal with that. And it's been like that since launch, but it actually was tolerable at launch. I didn't really notice this stuff. But since launch, it has been going downhill for these performance problems. And yeah, that's all I can think about that is trumping my ability to be excited for the Pacific is, am I going to really enjoy it when there are all these fundamental problems holding it back? And this is, guys, don't forget, we are 1 year from launch and we are still in this situation, and it's almost showing signs of just deterioration with more content. So if that's the case, okay, we're going to wait 1 more year for this new content they're going to deliver to us next year. Supposedly, it would be another theater, right? Who knows what that could be? That could be awesome. Maybe the Russian theater in the East. That would be sweet. But are we just going to expect even further deterioration on our way there? So yeah, that's why I'm not hopeful. That is why the news about Battlefield 6 being delayed is killing me, because I really desperately wanted to escape Battlefield 5's fundamental problems that is holding it back. Then either the studio are trying and failing because there are fundamental problems with the technology they're sitting on top of, or they are failing in their ability to deliver. Whatever the reason may be, it is just not working, in my opinion, and we're going to have to deal with that for a further 2 years until we can escape it with Battlefield 6. And you know what, planes in this game, all of us pilots who are watching this channel, we don't respect the plane mechanics, do we, in Battlefield 5? So we're really hoping that we can escape that as well into a new game where they've redone the mechanics altogether and come up with something that we can actually enjoy. All of that being said in the video, guys, I am still hopeful. The Pacific is releasing tomorrow, and I am excited because it looks great. I mean, they're promising a new feel for the game, an actual World War II feel. It looks fantastic. And when you look at the content itself, there's specialization trees that look exciting and promising, like they really gave it some time and effort to make something really awesome here. It's possible that these performance problems aren't going to be as bad, and it's possible that Battlefield will make a U-turn here and start correcting itself. But I would have argued, and I know this is against the general consensus of the active and avid community for this game, I would argue that this game has never once started turning around. All I've ever seen is new content be delivered, but fundamental bugs and issues get either worse or just increase in quantity. So if it does turn around, fantastic. Let's do it. Come on, please, DICE. Just don't disappoint. Let's start doing this U-turn. Let's turn this car around. And I'm ready. I'm here sitting with you. Let's go. Because I want to make content on Battlefield. This is my primary way of delivering entertaining content on YouTube. I would love nothing more than for this game to start to improve and be awesome again. But what do you think about all this, guys? I mean, I've noticed on my Twitter feed that everyone's spinning this into a positive. The fact that Battlefield's being I say delayed, it's the wrong word. I don't mean to say delayed, it's never announced. But the fact that Battlefield's being delayed, the fact that Battlefield is being postponed, no, it's not, what's the word? It's not being released for another 2 years. Okay, so the fact that it's not being released for another 2 years, a lot of people are spinning that as a positive, that we can get more time for a quality game. Okay, that sounds good and actually a viable benefit, but they're also saying it's a positive for the fact that Battlefield 5 gets more time, and that just doesn't add up to me. We're in the same position of where they're multitasking both supposedly building the next game and producing content. And like I said in the whole video, I feel like it's going downhill. So it just doesn't make sense to me when they say it's a super positive in both ways. Yeah, I'm not buying it. But what do you think, guys? Let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's a new one for me. And I'll see you next time. Peace.